So this project here today is our St Martin's development. It was the construction of a new chapel, and then within that contract there was also the building of 14 homes.
The original building was meant to be a chapel with community facilities, and we found over the years, slowly but surely, the community use of the building became paramount over the actual church side of it. What we wanted to do was re-establish the fact that it is a worship centre with a community facility. In 2015 we started to look at this project, and by 2018 we'd come up with an options appraisal exercise which considered absolutely everything. That was to refurbish the existing building, extend the existing building, sell off some of the land, do improvements to the old building, and we suddenly discovered that it was not financially viable, and that's why the only option that came out of that appraisal in 2018 was to sell part of the land, demolish the old building, which was full of asbestos, and redevelop the site.
One of the schemes that we went to see was by Regenda with a Methodist church, and spoke to the spokesperson of the church, who said the partnership was fantastic and the quality of the build was outstanding. So we really moved forward from that point, and Regenda got it straight away, and they stuck with us all the way through. That was invaluable, and I would say that the choice of a partner is fundamental to what you're going to do, because if they have that ethos and that desire and are just on the same wavelength, it really makes a difference. I think the most important thing for parishes to think about is the commitment and the time and the potential obstacles. Development is a really complex project. If anyone's watched Grand Designs or anything like that, everybody says, I didn't think it would take this long. I didn't think the cost would go up. You know, unless you're used to it, it can be a real shock. And it was a shock to us, particularly through the planning process. And we lost 18 months in the planning process. And you can imagine what happened to costs in 18 months. And the project team, which was then just 3 of us, we kept each other going. Every time one of us wanted to run somewhere else, the others would sort of pull them up. And so we just kept going and had that goal. You just have to keep having the faith. And fortunately, our new vicar was fully behind the project, and she's just taken it to every conceivable high level now.
So I arrived, had a look at the plans. Really, everything was organised and sorted. I was very fortunate that I literally walked in and a month later signed the contracts for the work to start. And then the following February, because there'd been some issues and problems with what had happened before, we had a morning of prayer. So we stood at the entrance to the site on North Way, and there was about 15 of us gathered there, and so we just said some prayers, blessed the land, asked for a smooth build with everything, good relationships with those we worked with. I think the impact is seen when you come and you see what goes on. You know, there's things that happen here every single day. We're also used by the diocese quite a bit for training courses. So, you know, it's outside use as well as local use. So that's really good. It's really made a big impact across our community.
There's very little properties that are affordable for the people who live here, and for their children to move into and for their grandchildren to move into. And obviously the church allowing this land to be built for this particular product type has allowed those people with those connections to this area to be able to move into them.
It was tough, but worth it. And you forget all of that because of what you've got at the end of it, which has far exceeded what we could have even dreamt of at the time, in terms of community use, in terms of parish use, and just the joy of coming into this building, which gives people so much pleasure and support in all kinds of ways.